Hi, we're going to build a new shop assistant today. Let's do it. So this is the LongMill from CNC Labs. It was on Kickstarter early 2019, and at that time I was thinking about getting a CNC, hadn't decided yet, and then I saw on Instagram a guy, Keith, I would if I could. I'll post a link to his channel and put his Instagram handle somewhere on the screen. He was posting about beta testing this CNC, and I was like, oh, that looks cool, so I looked into it, and they were just getting ready to launch their Kickstarter, so I backed it because it can get, I think it's the same size as the biggest Shapeoko and the biggest X-Carve, but it's cheaper. I want to say it was right around $1,000. I don't remember because the Kickstarter was a while ago, and that's the good thing about Kickstarter is you pay for it and then you forget about it and then you don't feel bad when it shows up. It's even a surprise. Yeah, but first we got to get everything out of the box. I've had this for probably a week or so now, but I had to finish up other projects before I could get to this, so now I'm going to get to this so I can use it on my next projects. So let's do it. Alright, everything is unpacked. So we've got a bunch of 3D printed parts, brackets and whatnot, which is nice because if something happens I can just reprint these. Touch plate for finding the home point. End mills to get started. We're going to put those aside because we don't need them yet. We're just building things, so that's not the Z-axis, moving the router up and down, the router plate, or mount, and then gantry plates. This is another Z-axis, or Z-gantry something, I forget. The motors, 3 bags of hardware. Looks like some all manner of screws and standoffs, ball bearings, a little bit of everything. Lead screws for things, cables, drag chains, aluminum angle, which this is a good amount of heft in the box. And then control board. Looks pretty fancy. Yeah, so everything's out of the box. I'm going to make room now to put it all together. So I forgot to hit record, but I haven't done much yet. All the instructions are online, so there's no instruction book to worry about, and you can see the pictures really clearly. First thing I did was make these little robots, and you cannot convince me this is not a little robot, but I'm not sure what they're for yet. Essentially, it's just pressing these nylon locking nuts into these pieces and then putting these screws in there, so you have a drooling robot, and then set these guys up. Now I'm going to use the 3D printed part and the steel motor mount, and it looks like we're going to build the Z-axis, so let's do that. So it's a snug fit, and it doesn't help that the label here is on the side, and I think that's giving just enough resistance to make it troublesome. camera died somewhere in there. So right now I'm not sure what the last thing you saw was, but the motor attached to the steel plate, and then that slid down into the 3D printed part here. And now with that, we've got it bolted together. And then we got two bearings in here with a lead screw. So that's pretty straightforward based on the instructions. You just need to end up with this little twirly thing. Whee! And now, this to be flush. So you gotta adjust this lead screw so that these are flush. And I'm gonna tighten this down. Okay, so this one is complete. Got wheels on here, 2 of the robots installed where they need to go. Still have two robots left to go. Don't know where those go yet. But now it looks like we are going to attach this with this. So pieces coming together. Okay, so this assembly is done. Okay, I had to redo this again. This piece here. First I had it in the wrong place, and then I had it upside down. So because now I need to mount the router mount, and it's supposed to go on this set of holes, but these were on this set of holes, so I couldn't do that. So I had to put it back up here and flip it around so that it's not blocking that. So now we're going to attach the router mount with the baggie that had the shorter screws. Okay, so that is, what's it called? The complete assembly of the XZ axis gantry. Now I believe we set this aside. Now, Y-axis gantries. It's the X-axis rail, and it's got 2 bits. Well, not bits, these are pretty hefty. And they're cold, so I got my gloves on. Yeah, and they just go together in kind of this lightning bolt shape. There's threaded holes on this one and oversized holes on this one, so that these bolts can fit through there and then thread into the other ones. Has these eccentric nuts, which are round on one side and hexagonal on the other side. And you want the hole for the nut, or the hole in the nut is off center, so you can rotate it. You want them at the top. We've got that to right along the axis. Now we got to put the plates on the side, and essentially these just need to get set on there. You want to make sure the wheels are on the outside. This big assembly is done. Now we're going to add the other bits to it, like the lead screw and some other stuff. So let's see what happens. So this goes through here, and there's an anti-backlash nut on this side of this. Alright, so I believe this assembly is done. So, since all this metal is very cold, I'll put on gloves. And move it. It's also pretty hefty. Oh, jeez. So I'm getting ready to install the router into the mount, and I'm using the DeWalt, but their instructions show a Makita. There's also a couple other routers that will work, so when you purchase yours it'll tell you, and then your router mount size is going to vary based on your router also. So just go in mind knowing that it doesn't come with the router. You can order it with a router, but if you just order the kit, you're going to be stuck without a router, and then you're not going to be doing much. So keep that in mind. So now the wiring is complete. I got the wires routed where they needed to go. On the wiring clip on this side with the Y-axis motors, there's two little channels for them to slot through. I found I had to loosen the screws that hold this drag chain in place to get them slotted, to get those wires slotted into the top one. So I didn't take them all the way out, I just loosened them a little so they didn't stick down as far, and then slotted it through, tightened it back down, and good to go. See what next. Looks like we're working with the power supply. Okay, and then just double checking wiring on the power supply. When you're looking at the screws, should be white, black. When you're looking at the motor wires, blue, yellow, green, red. Right, and then there's red dip switches in there. Just want to make sure those are right, and it looks like 1 and 2, or 1 and 3 should be up, 2 and 4 should be down. That is correct on all of those. And these are labeled Z, Y, X. So it's just a matter of getting them in the right place. So we verified that it moves like it's supposed to. Everything seems to be working. So now we want to mount it to the wasteboard. And typically the wasteboard is going to sit in the middle of it, and that's what you attach your work to, so that there's something behind your work. You need some way to hold your work down. If we just left this sitting on this MDF and put another piece of MDF there for a wasteboard, then we lose 3/4 of an inch of our Z-axis height. So instead what I'm doing, and what I've got set up here, is I'm putting the rails up on this same 3/4 inch material so that I don't actually lose any height, because the rails are lifted up above the wasteboard. So it's just a matter of using the provided screws, which are essentially just pocket hole screws, to attach them. You don't want to use like a countersink screw that has the wedge going into the head, because it'll just split these 3D printed parts. So you want something with the flat shoulder. Alright, so the assembly is done. I've got it attached to the wasteboard, and then I'm going to work on putting an actual better wasteboard in here that has hold downs and stuff, probably get some T-tracks, but for now just gonna run with it how it is. I've got a 1/4 inch down cut bit in there. I'm gonna make a test cut on this plywood, and down cut is best for plywood, it sounds like, so I'm gonna go with that. So for now, to hold this down, I am just going to put screws in the corners and make sure that my cut path is nowhere near those, so I don't run into those as I'm cutting. So I'm going to attach this and then go from there. So that wraps it up for this. I hope this helps if you're going to put one of these together, or if you're just trying to get an idea about what it is. For the price, so far, it's awesome. I don't know what spending more on like a Shapeoko or an X-Carve would do for you. It might save you some time in assembly, and it comes with a waste board where this one doesn't, but I don't know. 4x4 sheet of MDF for me is not that much. I got an 8x4 sheet, cut it in half so I could use it to make more of wasteboard support here, which I'll do later on because I don't have all the pieces for that yet, but I mean, that and a sheet, pretty good. I'm happy with it. Again, hope this helped you either assemble it or make a decision on whether or not you want to buy one. I think you should because it's really cool and I like people to have cool stuff. So, cool. If you want to see upcoming projects I do with it, be sure to subscribe. Otherwise, I will see you later, I guess.